Our next presenter is Mauktik Kulkarni. He is going to be giving us a TED-style talk on arts and journalism in the age of AI. Mauktik's fun facts about himself included that his first love was actually badminton, and he would have loved to have become a professional badminton player. Unfortunately, things went wrong in that direction, so he settled for becoming an engineer, a neuroscientist, a globetrotter, author, and now a filmmaker. Look forward to hearing what he has to say about arts and journalism in the age of AI.
Thank you. Is my voice audible? You can hear me? Yeah? All right. So, as an engineering neuroscientist, I should actually just ride on what everybody's saying and talk about the bright AI-enabled future. But as an artist, I'm going to be a bit provocative and start with a little bit of history. So let's go back to the 16th century. I do have one bottle of champagne to give now because I won one. So 16th century, right? We're talking about, Kabir was writing his dohas, Surdas was composing his poems. In Europe, it was Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci who were spearheading the Renaissance. Can you name one technology from the 16th century that we're still using? Anybody? Can you name a technology from the 16th century that we're still using? Books? Changed. Let's move to the 17th century. It was Sant Ramdas, writing Das Bodh. It was in Europe, Milton and Rembrandt introducing new styles of painting. Any 17th century technology that we're still using? No? 18th century. Now we're talking about Edmund Burke, Wordsworth doing their seminal works in Europe. We're talking about Marie Tussaud of the Wax Museum fame. She was sculpting in Europe. Any 18th century technology we're still using? Going away, but yeah. Finally, 19th century, the century of Tagore, of Mirza Ghalib, of Van Gogh, and countless others. Now we're probably talking, right, yeah. So now we're getting into the century of something that we're still actively using. So the point is that if you're a technologist in this room, if you're funding technology, whatever you're doing is going to be forgotten pretty soon. And I'm not here to argue that it's not useful. It's very useful. Technology tends to be mostly incremental with a few quantum leaps. One of them we're seeing now. And I hope that all the technologists in the room, their investors, your inventions lead to happier, healthier, more prosperous societies, but that's not going to be your legacy. Art, on the other hand, writings, paintings, films, music, that has a longer shelf life than anything you're doing today. Now, 16th to 19th century is also the time when we started developing democracies. In that period, media became the fourth pillar of democracy. Journalists became the writers of the first draft of history. And before that, it used to be the historians who were in the courts of the kings and queens who would document the goings-on in their kingdoms. Naturally, they had no interest in criticizing the powers that be. Journalists started speaking truth to power because with democracies, we got fundamental rights, we got due process, we got rule of law, and we got copyrights. Now, in the pre-democracy era, it was the rich kings and queens who would patronize the artists and authors. Now, when the power of the purse went from the rich rulers to the people, it was copyright laws that helped authors, artists, and journalists survive. Unfortunately, AI has no interest in copyright laws. In the pre-democracy era, these kings and queens would support them, and now there's nobody to support us. So it's not as if artists and journalists are resistant to change. In storytelling, we've gone from physical books to e-books, physical books to e-books to now films and web series, streaming. Even in journalism, we've gone from print media to radio to TV to now online media. And in all of these cases, copyright laws were updated to include new forms of content and media. Unfortunately, with the AI, none of that is happening anymore. Now, AI, on one side, is disrupting the financial incentives for artists. So pretty soon, we're going to be in an era where very little new art gets created. If you know how generative AI works, it's mostly going to be stale combinations of art that's already been created, right? And on the other hand, with its ability to endlessly generate artificial content, it's blurring the lines between fact and fiction. So, as you know, China's DeepSeek doesn't answer any questions about the Tiananmen Square massacre. And if January 6th and the parliamentary attacks in Brazil are any indication, we're already in an era of democratic decline. And if democracies go away, you are staring at the struggles of Jack Ma, not at the triumphs of Elon Musk or Sam Altman. So let's take a few examples of what's going on. Now, this is a chart from a British publisher. They were one of the few publishers that used to pay their writers above the market rate. So naturally, they had an interest in detecting and blocking people who were plagiarizing or copying. Within 3 months of the release of ChatGPT, they went from blocking about 20, 30, 40 authors a month to blocking about 500 authors a month. They just couldn't sustain it. So they abandoned their online submission system, and it was the honest authors who suffered. Now, this is just a magazine that publishes short sci-fi articles. If you've ever tried to write a book, you know that it takes a village. Salman Rushdie famously took 5 to 6 years to write his epic Midnight's Children. And in those 5, 6 years, it was his British publishing company that supported him financially. Now, if these magazine publishers can't even support authors who are writing short sci-fi articles, who's going to support the Salman Rushdies of tomorrow? The situation has gotten so bad that within months of the release of ChatGPT, Amazon noticed that 200 books had the same co-author. Can you guess who it was? ChatGPT. And here's the bizarre thing. They came up with a bizarre policy after that where they said that one author can only publish 3 books a day. So now we're going from Salman Rushdie taking 5 years to write his epic to authors these days writing 3 books a day. It's crazy. Now, I'm not a musician, but the story is no different in the world of music. Now, this is a song by Drake and Weeknd, 2 of the biggest rappers. Let's take a listen.
I came in with my ex like
So you heard two voices, right? Drake and Weeknd. It's sung by neither of them. It's sung by AI. And it was downloaded 8 million times before the takedown notices took effect. Luckily, the people who were involved in it were all in North America, so the takedown notices actually were useful. If this guy was sitting somewhere in China or Russia, good luck with your takedown notices. So that's where the artists are struggling now. Let's move to journalism. I'm sure you guys have all heard about deepfakes. I just want to give you a couple of quick examples. On the left, this happened 3 weeks ago during the state assembly elections in Delhi, in India. Now, exit polls are banned until the last vote is cast. But this fake video of an exit poll went viral on the day of the election, apparently to sway undecided voters. See if you can spot the difference. The one on the top is the fake video, and the real video looks like the bottom. It went viral. Nobody was arrested. It was never traced. So we don't know how it affected the elections. We don't know who did it. We don't know if anybody's going to do it again. I think we know somebody's going to do it again, but we don't know how to stop it. It's going in an even more crazy direction now. So take a look at this video.
नमस्ते सभी प्यारे भारतवर्ष के लोगों, मैं नरेंद्र दत्त, जिसे स्वामी पदवी से सम्मानित किया गया, अब इमवर्स एआई के द्वारा.
So you can get the idea how many people in this room would want AI to replicate their voice once they're dead? 0, right? Oh, there's one. Okay. You get the bottle of champagne. So, and I think you've seen these kinds of images now too. They're becoming all too common now. On the left, AI was used to make somber-looking protesters look like they're smiling. On the right, these images went viral as soon as Trump went through his first indictment. Now, 250 years ago, John Adams, one of the American founders, had said that violence of a faction is the most dangerous thing for democracies. And by that, he meant easy assembly and violent actions by political extremists. With the kind of echo chamber social media has already created, these kinds of images and videos are just supercharging the political extremism that we're all experiencing now. So this is what's happening. On January 7th, Meta dismantled all kind of fact-checking. On January 12th, the ex-Secretary of Health and Human Services in the US, he said, he gave up. He said, I can't go toe-to-toe with social media. And this is before the new Health and Human Secretary came up, who's an open conspiracy theorist. So I'll wrap up with possible solutions. So on the content side, maybe we're going back to a situation where governments and nonprofits, they have to step up and help artists so that we're creating some kind of legacy. On copyrights, lawsuits galore in the US, India, all around the world. They can help, they can use some of your help. Social media, so this is a great nonprofit in Taiwan, which is a real-time fact checker that you can just add into your WhatsApp chats, and every time your crazy uncle tries to share something, it's immediately going to flag it. I think Raji is in the crowd. She's doing real-time deepfake detection. So that's also a great solution. And then regulations. I think it's still open field in AI. There are lots of nonprofits who are working in this field to lobby the Congresses, parliaments, and also working in public education to make sure that people are aware of what's going on in AI. All of them can use your help. And if you can't do any of this, just keep in mind that there are people like me who quit neuroscience and AI, all the lucrative jobs, and are trying to create art to leave behind a legacy. You can always start with supporting us. Thank you.